guest joining us on Just Talking is director Skyler Lawson, live on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show, as we get his audio on in. How's it going, fam?
Hey, there he is. Hi.
Hey. You're all jazzy. I like the colors.
Are you in jail? You're wearing, I thought it was an orange jumper.
No.
Hey, I mean, listen, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, most people in prison now have cell phones. They're doing the crate challenge and everything. So, I mean, it could be possible. Skyler, where are you at now?
I am currently in Wabash, Indiana, which is my hometown. That's where I grew up. It's where my family lives, because this is where we filmed the movie, and we're premiering it for all the folks that helped us out in the 100-year-old movie theater they've got here in town on Saturday. So that's going to be tomorrow. So I'm here promoting things, seeing family, seeing everybody who helped, and catching up.
That's got to be really cool, especially where we're actually going to be prepping up the trailer right now. Asmerson's in the background. She's already giving me the thumbs up. Before we even begin discussing your film, why don't we let the CCS family know what's good by playing the teaser of WHELM?
Steps ahead. Hours away.
I'm Alexander Alexei, spelled K-S-Y.
What kind of name is Alexei?
I mean, I'm telling you, fam, just with that teaser alone, it's probably one of the better teasers that I've seen in a long time, because it absolutely sets the tone for what WHELM is all about. And Skyler, is this your directorial debut?
It is the first time I've gone the full length.
And it was that good? I'm serious. The cinematography blew my mind. The acting was great. All of it, the soundtrack, that's your first full?
That's the
you need to be teaching some of these college students to how to do it.
Right?
You've gone through an MFA program, and sometimes I'm like, that's what you're teaching us?
Yeah.
Hey, that's facts right there. But I mean, Skyler, what is it like to step on set knowing that you're about to direct a full-length film? I mean, walk us through that process for anybody who has no idea what it's like to even become a filmmaker and even begin this cinematic journey.
Well, listen, I tried to get a couple movies off the ground for a while. Found out that I was asking for a little bit too much money, because the world tells you need a ton of money to make a feature film.
What's considered too much money in the indie world?
I mean, literally, if you're going out and you've made some short films, you're asking for a couple $100,000. That's a lot of money in the real world. In movie land, where your brain can be on the cloud somewhere, you can think that, yeah, that's what I'm worth, but you've got to prove it. So what I ended up doing was, I was like, why don't I just go back home to where I grew up? I know that place intimately. I know the people, and it's cinematic. It's beautiful. I grew up on a grain farm that's been in our family for over 100 years. I'll write for specifically those things I have access to. So if no one ever gives me a dime, I'll still be able to make the movie. At the same time though, it's like, no, I like to shoot on film, celluloid, all of that. So I have the aspiration, let's make it legit, but just in case, have a backup plan. So I'm just lucky enough to be, really good friends with my collaborators. Ed Herrera, you alluded to, the cinematographer. He's one of the best in the game, but he's also my best friend. He's like my brother. And so are these actors. The actors had worked on my short films, and they were trained at HB Studios in New York. And it's like where Pacino and De Niro trained. A lot of really talented folks trained there. And so I knew that they were worth their salt. They're trained on the stage. So if we had to do not very many takes, we were going to be good. So starting off there, we step on set the first day. Yeah, it's going to be nerve-wracking, but once that film starts going through the camera,
right,
it's game time, and you just try to hang on for dear life. It's like, what did someone say? It's like trying to take the SATs while you're riding a bull. Something like that.
Yeah, pretty much. But you know what I love?
That's an Indiana reference, because out here in Cali, people don't ride bulls. So
hey, I've never ridden a bull either. So I'm fronting to you right now. But hey, I can only imagine.
I've ridden a sheep.
Hey. You say more than me. I've never ridden a sheep.
I sheep.
But I was gonna say, Skyler, you made such an interesting point, especially when it comes to producing an indie film, because yours honestly looks like you're on a Scorsese level when it comes to the cinematography, and I like that
Appreciate
you use
that.
the environment that you're around. I mean, I tend to joke with Hollywood films. I mean, it's really easy to make a rom-com. All you need is an apartment.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean, when it comes to your film, I mean, you use the whole state of Indiana, and I mean, is that the main reason you came up with the concept of a bank heist during the Great Depression era? Because you
Well-
felt like growing up, you were kind of there? I mean,
To be honest, I mean, there's a lot of local legends about crime in Indiana. Like, you know, we're right by Chicago, right underneath Chicago, and so a lot of those criminals were coming down here to hide out. And there's always local legends. You know, every family has local legends about John Dillinger and Capone and all this
Right.
stuff. And
My
and
great grandfather might have hit out there. He was the driver for Pretty Boy Floyd.
hey,
So he honestly might have hit out there.
I would
related. I don't know.
I would.
well,
no,
Marissa,
I
I think you're.
I definitely think that's a possibility, truly. And so that's kind of where the root happened. And the thing is, the whole movie, the entire movie is filmed in the small town, the tiny small town. It's like a 3-factory town that I grew up in. So it looks really vast, but I was blessed to grow up with the horizons on both sides, you know, cornfields and soybean fields. And so I knew what that beauty was, but to bring that to a national scale. And to be honest, you said, I mean, thank you so much for the compliment. It's like Scorsese level. I mean, that's my film school. I used to watch everything he put out, all the interviews. That's how I learned how to do what I do. So that's a big praise. Him, Paul Thomas Anderson, you know, Chris Nolan. I look
Well,
at
you
these guys.
Skyler, you also kind of pulled like a Coen Brothers move on this film. I mean, you did a unique approach to directing your indie film by you introduced like these 13 short chapters. I mean, how did this idea come to be? Was it the Coen Brothers? I mean, or you always kind of thought about this?
Listen, Coen Brothers are obviously one of my favorites as well. And that's also a high compliment, really. To be honest, I just wanted to make something that was vastly different than what Hollywood was putting out. Because these days there's like an ocean of content. You got to be different. If people aren't talking about it, then you're not really. And I told the whole cast and crew when we started making it, I said, the needle has to go either all the way to the right or the left. If it goes in the middle, we made nothing. People have to talk about it. They either have to love it or hate it. So we had to bet on ourselves and go all the way and try to evoke some of the earlier era of the American epics, also some of the grittiness of the 70s.
And that's a good point, but like, because you have to provoke the listening audience to believe and buy into the story. And I did have this thought, especially in the opening minutes of the film, you bring up this quote that's from Reed Haywood that reads, "The following is a tall tale on how I involved myself in the crime wave of 1933 to steal time with my long lost brother." Honestly, when I read that, were you trying to pull a Fargo move intending to trick the audience into watching a non-fictional piece? Or if not, how in the world did you come across this story, and why did you want to tell this story in your directorial debut?
Well, it's laced into local legends. And so the thing is, I went into the history books only for the facts of where these criminals were. But it's all laced in nonfiction. Because what's going on, without giving too much away, obviously it says to steal time with my long lost brother. Is a younger brother trying to reconnect with an older brother who had been gone at World War I for a long time, and he hadn't seen him. So he's trying to reconnect. So he's involving both of them in, that's the celebrity of the day, these bank robbers. And so he's trying to give them time together. And so the whole thing is fabricated, but it's based on very much reality and personal experience. Because when you grow up in the Midwest, that's a blue collar nature to grow up in. It's all about hard work and pride in your work. And at the same time, you're trying to expand, and you're trying to become your own person, and family is everything. When you get older and you realize that what you had was actually golden. And so the movie is based on like the local legends of celebrity and the fame and all of that about like the bank robbers, and how if you were just had a brush with history, as the movie says, that lineage can go down to your grandkids. So like, that's what I hear. Yeah. And I'm not saying my family directly dealt with bank robbers or anything, but every family has that like little bit, like they saw the fastest car they've ever seen driving through the prairie, all of that.
About the only closest thing I've done to a bank heist was Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, that's about it.
And also we involved ourselves in history because we got to rob a bank. You know what I mean? It was
through Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean.
Yeah, and let's be honest, as serious as the movie is, you zoom out, the movie's like adult Looney Tunes. There's a lot of crazy things going on in this movie that no one's going to expect. And it's all about, having fun and just taking all the risks, because I was told long ago by someone in Hollywood, they said, you know what, you should go ahead and make the thing that only you can make, because you're the only one that can do that. And this is the time when no one's going to be telling you what to do.
And so I liked how with your writing throughout it, there was some funny moments. Like you had one where the younger brother said something and Autumn was like, what are you writing a play? Nobody even talks like that. I was like, ah!
Well, it's funny that you even referenced that
like
too,
really
Marissa,
good.
because when I was reading the title of the movie, I was going, "Whelm? What Millennial even says Whelm?" So, like, why did you decide to name this period piece after that word? I mean, what does that mean to you, and for to tie it all in?
Totally. Well, I wrote the movie. The title came first, which is the weirdest thing. And to be honest, you look up Whelm in the dictionary, it's going to tell you like it means to bury, to like, basically it's just
it's my new Scrabble word.
To take over. It means to take over, and it's also just an influx of information. It's everything that the movie is. The movie is like an onslaught of like, there's a lot of emotional like waves that just happen all at once, and just for the characters, just things are piling up so fast. And to be honest, at the time of my life, I was trying to get movies off the ground. I, married my high school sweetheart, and say I'm risking a lot to get this going before we have kids and all of that. And
do you want to take your words back on that? No, I was kidding.
No. But the thing is, it's like I was feeling all of that at the same time, so I just poured it all in there. And I was like, if I'm feeling this, a lot of people are. America's a crazy place right now. So the idea is that it's a word that people don't hear very often. They've heard it in other contexts. And to be honest, it goes upon the theme of like, if the needle lands in the middle, you made nothing. So at least people are like, what is this word? Yeah, and and in the end, if you want to get down to the brass tacks, like look up the dictionary definition. If you like look at it, I knew because I Googled it and I was like, oh shoot, what it says when you Google it, the thing that comes up at the top is exactly what the movie is. So people will be fed that way. And in the end, the word kind of just feels like the 1930s, to be honest. It just does.
That is amazing. It does. It really does. That's why I was joking with you. I was going, I don't hear too many millennials say that. But I have to say,
I've
Skyler,
never said it until I made this movie. I've never said the word.
No, I believe it. I totally believe. But I have to say, your indie film is majestically beautiful with incredible detail to the cinematography, the sound production, the cosmetics, and we've also acknowledged the set design that makes you truly feel like you're living in the Great Depression. But I'm curious though, how long does it take to shoot a film like this?
A lot longer than we did it, and I'll tell you that. We did it in 14 days total with 1 day break in the middle. And our crew was
Did you shoot this during COVID?
No way.
No. We shot this in 2018.
Okay,
in
so
October,
you got just lucky. Yeah.
October of 2018, and then I got done editing it, and we were getting ready to go into festivals and things like that, and COVID hit, but that's okay.
But what are the biggest setbacks, though, with shooting a film on a 14-day notice? I mean, what is this something that the film goers don't know that they need to know?
Well, first of all, the town rallied around us and let us under their wing. It doesn't happen without them. And where dollar value falls short, personal connection picks up the slack. And we were fed by church groups and ladies clubs and different Elks clubs and we were fed and the actors come from New York and Los Angeles, and the crew comes in and they're fed like kings. We're eating buffet level, and everybody's giving hugs after we leave. That doesn't happen at day-to-day set. So that warmth of the Midwest that you wouldn't think would add to a movie set. What it did was our cell phones didn't work half the time because we were kind of off the grid. So the outside world
keeps
was
you
gone.
Focused in the zone.
We're shooting on film, so we don't get to do 100 takes. I'll take as many as it takes to get it in the can, but everybody's bringing their A game right away. And celluloid's a big part of that. And we're trying to make a classic kind of movie, so that adds to it. And to be honest, this place is stuck in time, not in a bad way, in a great way. They preserve the history. And in the end, 14 days is really tight. We were doing double amount of scenes is what probably a union would let us do, but everybody was game to do it. We were all living in the same farmhouse. So it was like summer camp, right? Only we had something to do. We had to get up at sunrise, work till sunset. And there was no shame in that game because we were all friends by the end. And we were friends before. So that's what it took to get it done in that time. And what it ends up being is a town opening up their arms and allowing us to run around in their streets and shut down the road. And we invited the locals out to watch it like it was a football game. And they did, and just give them a little something different. You can't come to a place with your hands wide open. You have to come with your hands full and give them something. And
And
so
I-
that's what we were all about.
That you involve the town in that, because especially in, like, I'm from a big city, so we don't even think about it. But in small towns, like, that will be talked about for generations. Did you know that so and so shot their film here? And oh, look, here's my living room, and it's in the film. Oh, look, that's my cornfield. Like, that'll actually be part of the history's lore. And I love that you invited that, because that's like
it's a really cool thing. And I know that we got about 5 minutes with you, Skyler, and I did want to bring up some pop culture with you, because I can already tell even during this 15 minutes that you are super ambitious in the filmmaking world. And I gotta bring some things that we raised with the co-founder of Gen Z Critics about how Matt Damon is now siding with Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola about the challenges modern cinema faces, pointing out both superheroes and streaming for ruining movies. Does he have a point, or is this a baby boomer mentality?
Well, here's what I have to say about that. Something will die if you start throwing dirt on it. So, like, let's not throw dirt on cinema quite yet. Like, I'm just old enough to go to the prom now, so let's go. Like, let's go ahead and did I?
No, you're good. You're
sorry.
Sorry.
Anyway, what I was going to say is I understand exactly what they're saying. Like that formula is being repeated over and over, and it's all about getting the widest grab of the audience. But
let me ask you something though, Tyler. Skyler. I said Tyler. But
it's all good, don't worry.
But it's like, obviously you're a director though. I mean, isn't it having your film placed on, let's say, Amazon Prime a huge milestone for up and coming directors? Or am I viewing this completely wrong? I'm already hearing I'm seeing a smirk from you a little bit already.
Yeah, I mean, there's a half a million movies on Amazon Prime right now, so it doesn't necessarily make you fully special.
But how
it's
many
a huge
go on
accomplishment.
box office though, right?
It's a huge accomplishment to get a movie done. It's a miracle anytime a movie gets made. But how we believe, we put our movie in theaters ourselves. So we negotiated to keep the rights to put it in theaters, and we put it on 35 millimeter film, and we project on 35 millimeter film.
But can I read you a tweet though that I think that you'll get a kick out of?
Of course.
Because the Rise of the Guardians director Peter Ramsey said last week, although many people will watch films on TV, there's still something almost church-like about seeing them in theaters. And what is it that these directors not understand? And I mean, I might be, because I don't want to go to church all the time. Not anymore. I mean, I find it very comfortable in the seat of my home. So what is it that you see moving forward when it comes to modern cinema in the box offices? Do you see us millennials coming back, or is it only for when Spider-Man No Way Home releases?
Listen, I think it's up to people like me and my generation to give you guys a reason to come out to the theater. That's the whole problem. If we got to risk it all and give them something that's worth going out to see. The thing is like people like Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, Scorsese, Paul Thomas Anderson, you want to go to their movies. It's like an event. So what if we just decided, like, COVID happened, the crater of the last year happened. What if we just decide, whatever we're not happy with in the movie industry, why don't we just hard reset and make it what we want it to be? Don't throw dirt on what's gone.
Do you feel that it needs to be an effort from, I guess, these indie studio companies? Because a lot of people felt like that's what A24 was doing for the youth. But now A24, I hear, is going to get bought out pretty soon, and that's not going to be the route destination for indie filmmakers. I mean, how do you succeed in this crazy industry of getting into the box office theater?
Well, first off, I'm in the business of making the best movie I can get done and then seeing who connects with that. And that's my job. But at the same time, it's also my job to deliver you guys something that is worthy of going to see, because it's yours.
And it is. Your film needs to be on the big screen. No, seriously, like, I was sad it was on my little tiny 14-inch Mac. I was like, oh no, this needs to be.
At least it wasn't on the iPhone. But I know we got like 30 seconds wrapping up, Skyler. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want the CCS family to know what's good. Where can they check out your film today?
Well, WHELM's on Amazon Prime, like we said. It's on iTunes, and you can get them both there. You can buy, rent. You can also get a Blu-ray of it, and it's on some certain streaming platforms. So you can just speak into your little remote and search it. You can see where it'll come up. But at the same time, we're putting it in theaters on 35 millimeter as a road show. It's going to travel the country and make an event about it. about kind of let's throw it back to a different era and come see it in the theater if it comes to your town, and hopefully it
Hell
is.
yeah.
Come to LA. I want it in LA.
It was in there. It was there like last week,
it's coming back.
ago.
It has to come back because I missed it, obviously.
It's coming back. We'll do multiple dates in Los Angeles, probably New York, Atlanta. We're gonna try to get it as many places as we can and make it special to go to the movies again, rather than just like a one-off.
Rock and roll, Skyler.
Yeah.
Skyler, you're amazing, my friend. Go ahead and check out his directorial debut. That is WHELM, out now on Amazon Prime. Or you know what? Just go ahead and follow him on social media so you can go ahead and see it in person. Yeah. Rock and roll, Skyler. Hopefully we talk with you later on in the future, and much success for your film because it's truly a beautiful one.